and that's a big chunk
Sure.
of what they can have as far as within their local community, and that's something you should take advantage of.
Sure.
And the various communities have different kind of structures as
backgrounds.
far as that's concerned. Obviously, the other side of it is educational. It goes beyond just the one thing as far as the medical and burial. We need to be able to, and I would like to be able to work more so that we are able to get the people mainstream back into the community.
And this is one way that appears very small because it's just a little card, but it means so much, and you've galvanized an entire community around helping.
Can I
veterans.
tell you something? The legislature was wonderful. They when you said it wasn't political, on both sides of the aisle, they supported this. They went over and above as far as anything that was there. We had a member item from Senator Maziarz where decals were put together so that the businesses are able to say that they support the veterans and that they can put it on their window. We are also, through our own website within the county, because of the legislature, we'll advertise these businesses, let them know. Now, what I would like to see down the road, again, I said we need to walk before we run. I would like to see that what we are going to do is have a reciprocal agreement that it would be beyond just Niagara County. I had to start out with just Niagara County. I wanted to promote Niagara County businesses. I wanted to take care of the Niagara County people. But Erie County now is beginning this process so that hopefully we'll be able to extend it a little bit further. And what I would like to see, the Western New York area, and then hopefully what will happen is we'll be able to cover the whole state. And I think that's a reality. I think that will happen once we get everybody on board on this thing. So it can go a lot further than just what we have over in our area. But I'm so happy that we have what we do have in our area.
Excellent program. Oh, go ahead.
I must say that the card works, Wayne. I didn't tell you this story, but we went out to see my son in Oklahoma and had accommodations on the way. And I asked, did you honor veterans? You have a veterans discount? And they said, absolutely. And when I arrived, they simply showed that card. There was absolutely no questions asked. Just flashed the card, and it worked.
Excellent.
It worked.
I have to tell you something. We tell all the vets when they come in that here's the list of people that support this. But our veterans are very creative.
Right.
And I hear stories like this over and over again. And the wonderful thing is that they've got wonderful stories to tell about what they've received back.
Yep.
And I'm glad of that. I really am. It's one of the nicest things we could have done.
I'm getting to the point now, everywhere I go, do you give veterans a discount?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll give a shameless plug. One of the
Absolutely.
organizations I'm involved with, Comedy Sports. It's an improv comedy troupe in Erie County, and we absolutely have a military discount. It's
Perfect.
$2 off the admission charge. It's
Perfect.
family-friendly comedy fun. So, we're all getting involved. Shameless plug. I can't get through a show without a shameless plug.
No, that's good.
This is Access to Government. We're here for you, the viewer, you, the taxpayer. We are live tonight, 434-1733. We want to hear your stories. If you are a veteran, if you know a veteran, and if you need help, if you're looking for help, or who has helped you, we want you to call in tonight. We want to hear from you. Let's turn the program over to Mr. Chris Krieger. You are working very hard with this new program, Western New York Heroes. Talk to us about first your experience as a veteran.
Well, I got 10 years in the Army and served in Bosnia, Ground Zero, the Iraq War in 2003. We were there for the initial invasion and returned back home in 2004. And in my time that we were over in Iraq, I was hit with a roadside bomb. The vehicle was hit. 3 different occasions, actually, and I was able to walk away from all 3 of them.
Wow.
However, it was the 3rd one that probably did the most damage, which is why now I wear dual hearing aids, left-sided traumatic brain injury, epilepsy. I could give you a whole list of medical issues now. And when I came back home, I needed surgery to fix my foot, surgery on my back, and I couldn't return back to work. So I turned around and I filed for VA disability. And at the time, I was told not to worry, because my biggest worry was, if I'm not working and I'm out of work, how do I continue to keep the roof over our head, food on the table, clothes on my kids? I was told it was no worry, I would receive 100% temporary disability until I was able to get back on my feet. Okay, it all sounded great. We moved forward, and probably within about a month or so, 3-4 weeks, we received a denial letter from the VA saying that my injuries were not combat related.
Wow.
So
That I could not believe.
right, and
A
there's
roadside bomb, and it's not combat related.
I don't know.
I just
Maybe
don't
it was a
understand
pothole
that.
in Hawaii.
Oh,
What do I know? So that started a lot of anger, and probably within 8 months or so, we ended up losing our house, the vehicles, Hunt Real Estate. I can't talk enough about Hunt Real Estate. They actually stepped up, and they threw a huge benefit together, supported and backed by Senator Maziarz, to try and see how much money exactly they can raise to help us keep everything. They did a phenomenal job. The outpour in the community was unbelievable, and the benefit was actually held at Gratwick Hose. And I remember that day standing there in the middle of this crowd and telling my wife that just to see the outpour from the community coming out to help us, that I would never turn my back on another person again. And I meant that. So as we proceeded down the road, the epilepsy kicked in, and it started getting really bad, to the point where I was on life support. So the VA then turns around and sends me down to Richmond, Virginia, to a polytrauma brain center, where I spent about 5 or 6 weeks down there. And while I was down there, I was still running into soldiers who would come back, their injuries, denied their benefits. The bank's taken it all. That's a shame. It's a rotten shame that these men and women go over, asked by our own government, and like Wayne had said, that you return back home and everyone thinks that we're 100% taken care of, and that's not true. So with that anger, I had many other thoughts, but said there's got to be something that we can do. And it happened so that when I returned back to Western New York, I received a phone call from a woman by the name of Dion Kane. Wanted to get together and talk, and what can we do together? And that's how Western New York Heroes then was launched, literally over a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons. And here we are now 5 years later, and the community support is it's unbelievable. One of the things that makes us different from your VFW, your AMVETS, DAV, is that those are national organizations. They're great organizations.
Right.
But when you make a donation to the organization, where's your money really going? Nobody knows. $75 of every 100 goes to Washington. 25 of that stays here. So what's happening with that other 75?
So this program can help local veterans and solve the problems that are unique to this area. Yes.
Try to solve the problems.
Try to solve.
Okay, we're not going to solve them all.
Right.
But with Western New York Heroes, it's just that, Western
Right.
New York Heroes. So the money stays local to help the local vets and the families, as well as the families who might have lost a loved one over there. Again, we're not going to turn our back on anyone. And originally it was for Iraq and Afghanistan vets only. And then the more we thought about it, Vietnam vets, look how they were treated.
Right.
So we opened it up across the board for veterans of all eras, period.
Excellent. Before we go into some of the details of the program and some of the benefits that you offer, we are live tonight. We're going to go to the phones. This is Paul in Lockport. Good evening, Paul. You've got access.
Good evening. First of all, thank you guys for your service. Sorry you were hurt over in Iraq. I've got a son that's right now in Germany. He's been over there in Afghanistan a couple of times. And I got a boy that just joined the service. And I'll tell you what, I went to his graduation ceremonies, and the people at the airports, every time they see the soldiers, it's thank you, big applause for them. I mean, it's just amazing the way it is now compared to what it was for Vietnam. In fact, the other day we were out to Big Lots, and I was with him, and a woman went out of her way to come up to him and say thank you, just because he had his uniform on. And I guess as a parent, I felt kind of proud. But you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and keep it up, and I hope you can straighten it out for our veterans.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Great. Thank you for the
Thank you,
sentiment, Paul. So this issue hits right to the nerve. So let's dig right in. Tell us about some of the stories as you started to help others.
Well, it was just that we wanted to help the families local here in Western New York, and so how do we do that? We are not for profit, 501c3 registered. We're not receiving any state or federal money at this time, and probably part of the reason is because we won't go national with it. And then that's okay. That just means that it allows us to have more control over it. So with the money that we do receive, it's all through donations and fundraising. Now, especially with today's economy, that makes it 10 times harder. Okay. Sure. To go out and ask for a $1,000 donation, that means the individual who's given us that $1,000 has to make up $2,000 somewhere, just to make up for that. So what we do with that money is that if a veteran or the family member calls and says, look, we can't pay the rent, we can't meet the mortgage, we're getting shut-off notices on our utilities. That's what we do with that money is, if you're behind on your rent, we ask for a letter from the landlord. If you're behind on the utilities, show us a shut-off notice. We won't become somebody's personal ATM. So, the veterans or the families can apply for the grant money once every 2 years. We have the two different programs. One's called Bridging Hearts. The other one's Grant-A-Wish. One is for combat vets. The other one is for veterans across the board, period. They each hold a different monetary value. And then there's another program that we're trying to launch called Kids Are Heroes Too. And with that program, we're trying to get funding for that particular program. Say you have a vet who's living just on their VA disability. Even if they're 100% disabled, it's not a lot of money if you're married and you have 2 or 3 children. Right. So especially with your younger children, they come back home, little Johnny, little Sarah's taking Taekwondo or music lessons or dance lessons. They want to do what their friends are doing. But that vet knows that by the end of the month, they don't have that extra money. So with the Kids Are Heroes 2 program, what we're doing is trying to put funding into that program so that Western New York Heroes can turn around and fund your child to take that program for a year. Again, we haven't launched it yet. In order to launch it, we need the funding for it. We are reaching out in the community and trying to get different sponsors, donators.
Right.
I know right now what we do have, the Buffalo Sabres, huge supporter and a sponsor. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Keller Chevrolet. As a matter of fact, Keller just last month, I don't know if you've seen his commercials, where they had Memorial Month instead of Memorial Day. And every car sold on his lot, $100 went to Western New York Heroes. Okay. And last month, they were able to give Western New York Heroes $25,000 just for the month of May. It was unbelievable.
That's a great thing.
It is. The Outback Steakhouse, another huge sponsor for our Red, White, and Blues event that we hold in November. The Outback Steakhouse, we've been sitting with them, and they are very excited to partner with Western New York Heroes. They're not only donating all the food to put that event on, but the staff as well. So, that partnership alone is, I could see that going pretty far. Buffalo Police, Buffalo Fire, Niagara County Sheriffs. The outpour in the community has just been phenomenal. The Niagara Rises, ABWA, the Niagara County Republican Committee. I mean, everybody's just been coming out and wants to see Western New York Heroes succeed, and something like this, how can you say no to?
Sure.
It's out there.
If anybody out there wants to donate, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they could go to the website, westernnewyorkheroes.org, and right on the website itself, we have the PayPal.
Great.
You could donate through PayPal. You can send in a personal check. Our address is right there on the website. We are also affiliated with United Way. If anybody is interested, if they need the help, they can go right to the website, fill out the grant forms. We also have, there's 3 different steps to the grant forms. We got the financial aid. We have the back-to-school backpack application. So if you have children, what that program is Medaille College is a huge supporter on that one. And that's where they go out and they get brand new backpacks, school supplies, pens, pencils, you name it. I mean, school supplies alone are expensive.
Sure.
And then at the end of August, they call us up. We go and pick it all up, and then the vets who applied through that program get all brand new school supplies.